physician Dr. Conrad Murray's office and storage unit were raided this week. The LA Times is reporting court records filed in Houston cite Dr. Murray as a suspect in the manslaughter probe. Dr. Murray was with Jackson when he died and has been a central target in the investigation from the get-go.
We executed a search warrant in the Armstrong Medical Clinic.
Investigators seized several items from Murray's office and storage unit, including vials of a weight loss drug and a muscle relaxer, billing records, medication orders, shipping and billing receipts, a photocopied picture of Murray, Rolodex cards, 2 computer hard drives, letters to a former employee, and emails from a former employee. While the LA County coroner isn't publicly releasing toxicology reports until sometime next week, a family friend of the Jacksons, Dr. Steve Hofflin, told Access Hollywood he knows the results. Hofflin claims a reliable source told him the toxicology report indicates the King of Pop had lethal amounts of Demerol and Propofol in his body. What makes the investigation even more complicated is that Jackson was reportedly prescribed drugs under several aliases like Omar Arnold, Michael Armstrong, and Jack London. So investigators are looking for medical records under these aliases as well as under Michael Jackson. So what's next for Dr. Conrad Murray is the question. His attorney, Edward Chernoff, was present at the raids in Houston and told the LA Times his client did not give Jackson any narcotics that should have killed him. Back to you.
And joining me now with more on the Michael Jackson investigation is criminal defense attorney Darren Kavanaugh. Darren, thank you very much for talking with us. So now we know that Dr. Conrad Murray is part of a manslaughter investigation. What does the offense of manslaughter mean?
There's actually 3 different kinds of manslaughter. The first is called voluntary manslaughter, and that's what most people commonly think of. It's that heat of passion where somebody intends to kill, but it's justified. Then there's vehicular manslaughter, and obviously that doesn't apply here. This is involuntary manslaughter, which is highly negligent activity that results in somebody's death. In this particular case, if Dr. Murray is convicted of involuntary manslaughter, he faces up to 4 years in prison.
And now they could do other things also to up the ante to call for more prison time if they wanted, right?
Well, it's possible, depending on how the facts are revealed, that Dr. Murray could even face second-degree murder charges. But of course, it's too early to tell at this point.
Now, how does this, considering that we're calling it manslaughter right now, how does this differ from, say, the Anna Nicole Smith case or the Heath Ledger where they died of accidental overdoses? How does that differ?
Yeah, the main difference in this case is that the drug that's involved, that everybody believes caused Michael's death, can't be self-administered. This means that somebody else had to be involved, and that's what makes all the difference in this case.
Now, they're saying that this might be stepped up to homicide, but it's already considered homicide?
Yes, when we're talking about a manslaughter investigation, we're talking about a homicide case. And of course, one of the really fascinating things in this homicide investigation is the amount of time that's now transpired since Michael's death. We're nearing the 1-month anniversary of his passing, and these search warrants are still being served. Obviously, that's a lot of time to go by, and if somebody were trying to destroy damning evidence, that time lag could give them the opportunity to do it.
The toxicology report will come out next week, we believe. If there are lethal doses of the Demerol and Propofol in there, what's the next step? What happens next?
Well, it depends on really what the details of those toxicology reports reveal. And that could be the final bit of evidence that's needed in order to either bring this case to a grand jury or go and arrest this doctor.
In your professional opinion, what do you think will happen? This doctor's facing manslaughter charges. What do you think will happen?
I'd be surprised if there were not criminal cases that flow from Michael's death. The eyes of the world are fixated on this investigation, and I would not at all be surprised if Dr. Murray is ultimately charged with something here.
Because, I mean, he was obviously there at the time of his death, and he was the last person to see Michael alive.
Yes, and of course there's a major issue regarding the time of Michael's death, because it's now being reported that employees of Dr. Murray's were seen on the very morning of Michael's passing removing boxes from Dr. Murray's storage locker. Now, the reports are that they were removing these boxes 3 hours before the 911 call. So there's this real issue about the time of death now. If it's believed that Dr. Murray did something to alter the perception of that time of death, that could be very, very damning evidence. So there's more questions than answers right now, but it will certainly be interesting to see all of this unfold.
Now, you're a criminal defense attorney. So if Dr. Murray or any other of Michael's doctors are charged in this case with manslaughter, how would you go about
defending them
against all of these charges?
Well, the main area where the defense will lie is that either these doctors didn't actually prescribe the drugs or administer the drugs, or if they did, that whatever they did was done in a medically approved manner. Here, it's all based on negligence, and in order for this to be a manslaughter conviction, it's got to be more than ordinary negligence. It's got to be beyond the pale. Reckless behavior that acted in disregard of Michael's safety. So if I'm defending one of these doctors, I want to show that they had Michael's safety in mind.